Live from the studio in Stauffer Flint at the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Coming up on KUJH, families and staff show great concern about the local school closures.
And a name change to the KU Public Safety Office, but their mission remains to keep Lawrence safe.
And with the end date expired this month for the temporary homeless camp, advocates look to city leaders for a long-term solution. Welcome to KUJH. I'm Marlon Martinez.
And I'm Jessica Joseph. With
summer break right around the corner, some Lawrence families are wondering where their children will be attending school this fall.
Following the final vote on Monday to close Pinckney and Broken Arrow Elementary, parents and staff are concerned about what's to come. Dana Nasser has all the details.
Thanks, Marlon and Jessica. I'm here at the Lawrence School District, where Monday's meeting brought about an expected vote to close both Pinckney and Broken Arrow Elementary. Many families and staff were seen leaving the meeting fairly upset with the outcome and looking to see what the next steps will be for the fall.
At the district meeting Monday, it became official that school closures were inevitable with the 4-3 school board vote. The meeting lasted until a little after midnight, with public comment beginning at 9 p.m. and lasting about an hour and a half. Over the weekend, there were closure hearings held at both Pinckney and Broken Arrow Elementary, where parents, students, and staff pleaded with board members to keep the neighborhood schools open. Erica Hunter, a former Lawrence School District educator, attended the weekend meetings and Monday's meeting, feeling that the school board could have done more to accommodate for concerns made in public comment in consideration for district teachers and staff.
A lot of them will continue to work these jobs no matter what happens because it pays their bills and they love what they do. So they'll put their head down and they will not comment or get involved because they fear if they speak up that they might lose their job. I know that that happened in a way to me.
Hunter also showed concern for the lack of transparency in the process.
Or they will say, let's get your input. Your input is great. It really, really matters. And then you will waste a whole year of your time planning for something and thinking you're going to make a change, and then they will cut your program. They will not tell you, hey, your program might shrink, you might lose your job. They will tell you to dream big, and then they will cut it off.
Matthew Frederick, a local concerned resident and lawyer who specializes in analytical work, also gave his input on the inconsistency with the budget planning.
They'll need 5 more bus routes as a result of closing, I think it was Broken Arrow, at $50,000 a bus route. That's $250,000 of increased transportation cost right there. If that person's accurate, and I believe they even mentioned, and you'll need to add another route, so that's $300,000, it completely offsets any savings you're seeing.
Frederick also gave more explanation to how the district must accommodate for yearly budget spending.
Even if they have $100 million sitting in the bank, they cannot spend more than the state has allowed them to. And so if they have set a budget that's too high at the beginning of the year, and then they get to the end of the year, that's when I believe that they need to make cuts.
Concerns were also shown about new drawn-up proposed boundaries that would not only affect the students at Pinckney and Broken Arrow, but also at Cordley, Deerfield, and Hillcrest Elementary, as some would have to transfer because of these new boundary lines. Students currently at Pinckney will transfer to Deerfield or Hillcrest. Students from Broken Arrow will be spread out amongst 5 schools, being Cordley, Langston Hughes, Prairie Park, Schwegler, and Sunflower Elementary.
New proposed boundary lines will be finalized at this Monday's school board meeting on April 10th. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks, Dana.
With the closures finalized, more information can be found on the district's website for what's to come in the fall.
A school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee on Monday left 7 people dead. It happened at a private Christian elementary school called Covenant. Police say the victims are 3 students and 3 adults. The other fatality is the shooter. She has been identified as 28-year-old Audrey Hale of Nashville, who was once a student at the school. Hale was armed with 2 assault rifles and a handgun. Police shot her to death. According to its website, the Covenant School is a ministry of Covenant Presbyterian Church. The police chief says all the entry doors to the school were locked at the time of the incident. They are still investigating how the shooter was able to get in, and no word yet on a possible motive. The incident is the 19th shooting at a school or university so far this year, in which at least 1 person was wounded, according to a CNN tally.
The KU Police Department made some changes earlier this week. KUJH's Kyle Mathis, who spoke with Police Chief Nelson Mosley, has more.
The University of Kansas Public Safety Office changed its name to the KU Police Department, according to Police Chief Nelson Mosley. One of the reasons for the change is a lack of transparency for individuals within the community as to what the Public Safety Office really is for KU.
With me sitting here as Chief of Police, that there was some confusion when I would get calls as to our department, Public Safety Office. They didn't know if we were security or were we a police department.
The KU Public Safety Office was referred to as the KU Police Department until the name change in the mid-90s. Along with the name change, the police department is also adding new positions as well.
I've also added department positions that I think are needed. For example, investigations of crimes here, I'm adding a detective and also a sergeant to better organize when we're called out to scenes and what we're doing. So structure-wise, we are changing in that way, just to better fit the needs of KU.
The changes within the department help bring it in line with majority of Big 12 peers in the partnering Douglas County agencies as well.
Some of the changes are, we're getting more requests for programming. I'm putting additional staff there on the educational side of policing. With more personnel there and changing your structure, I can address those demands as well.
These structural changes can be instrumental for police and investigative officers to help keep KU a safe place for everybody. Reporting for KUJH News, I'm Kyle Mathis.
The KU Police Department is located on Crestline Drive and is open 24 hours a day. City leaders and advocates are divided on the best way to address homelessness in Lawrence.
An agreement to allow a temporary campsite expired, with no solution on if shelter will remain after its end date, which expired in March. I spoke with a former city leader that believes the city needs to step up in providing affordable housing.
I mean, housing is the solution to homelessness. Housing is a human basic right.
The number of those experiencing homelessness continues to rise in Lawrence. With nowhere to go, many end up in the campsite set up by the city.
Originally, the plan was that this would end March 12th with the hope that we would have a more stabilized long-term approach in place. Of course, we had the situation where in December, the city tried to close it down prematurely, which would have displaced a lot of folks, which led to some of the reason why I resigned.
Jen Woolsey, a homeless advocate, has made special connections with many sheltered here, coming down, providing a set of hands for them.
I care about these people. A lot of times are unseen and there's a lot of stigma.
Since stepping down from her role with the city of Lawrence, she's grateful to see the camp stay, but says the city needs to do better.
I wish that it was taken care of better and being provided the level of supports that was being provided when I was here.
But Cicely Thornton, homeless project specialist, disagrees and says they're working hard in providing the needs for the camp.
I do not believe that at all. Like I say, I've lived here for 35 years and I've seen more progress in the last year than I've seen in my existence here. So
Woolsey says her job isn't done until she sees a change for the homeless community.
I want these individuals seen, I want them heard, and I want them housed.
The city of Lawrence passed a vote that will provide housing for 70 homeless individuals. The Pallet Village will consist of 75 small cabins with basic home needs. Construction is set to start in June.
Now let's send it to Halen to see what's to come in the forecast. Halen?
Well, we've enjoyed the mild and spring-like days for the last couple of days, but now we're starting to see temperatures really beginning to ramp up. We're talking 60s later this afternoon and maybe some 70s once we get ahead into tomorrow. But so far, beautiful sunny skies out there. Starting to see a few clouds beginning to filter in from the south, but it is getting quite windy out there, though, and we're going to be dealing with some windy conditions for the next 2 days or so as we're tracking this massive system moving in. But the winds are certainly bumping up those temperatures now, still in the 60s. We're at 64 here in Lawrence, 62 in Topeka, still 50s as you go further to the north in Kansas City, where they're still actually having Royals opening day there. So still probably need a lighter jacket up there, but temperatures all around are still going to be climbing back up into the 60s, but it is getting gustier out there. We're still seeing those southwest winds blowing at about 10 to 15 miles per hour sustained winds, but they're going to be bumping up into 20 to 25 miles per hour with gusts potentially up to 30 to maybe even 40 miles per hour. So probably we're under that wind advisory until once we get past 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, but it is going to be either way very windy for later this afternoon. Temperatures eventually climbing up into those upper 60s as our highs, but you know, with those windy conditions, pollen's not really getting all that great out there. It's starting to stir up a bit, especially with that tree pollen out there. So allergy sufferers, be aware. It's going to be probably a rough couple of days, and even still, we're going to be keeping a close eye on the weather, even going into tomorrow's, where there is the potential for some storms and maybe even some strong ones. And then we're eventually going to be cooling things down a little bit going into Saturday, but then going to be talking about another big warm up ahead for next week, which we'll go more into detail about coming up.
We are ready for that warm weather. Thanks, Halen. And coming up on the other side of the break, we find out how Native American women warriors honor their veterans.
And a new approach to how college students are having fun.
Welcome back to KUJH. Our reporter Catherine Galliani and GMIC's Alyssa Noriega met with the Native American Women Warriors Association this week to speak about their vision and importance in communities nationwide.
The Native American Women Warriors was founded to honor women veterans that served in any branch of the armed forces during any era.
Our mission is to give recognition to the women veterans that have served, especially of Native descent. And then also our goals are to make sure that they get help that is needed, whether it's in education, health, and then employment. So those are some of our basic programs that we're trying to get initiated.
The NAWW Color Guard is in high demand, presenting the colors at events nationwide, including rodeos and powwows.
It feels so good to be part of a team of strong Native Indigenous women that have been where we've been and has gone through some of the things, some of the trials and the tribulations, and breaking down barriers and opening up doors for the future generations.
The NAWW plans to continue supporting women veterans in any way possible and to find joy in honoring their service. This is Catherine Galliani reporting for KUJH News.
Thanks, Catherine. For more information on events, membership, and the board of directors, you can visit the website nawwassociation.com.
Experimental rap artist JPEG Mafia performed a sold-out show at the Granada last night. KUJH reporter Sam Goldman was on the scene to capture all the action.
Last night, hundreds of fans gathered at the Granada for a sold-out show to see experimental rap artist JPEG Mafia, sponsored by KJHK and student union activities. For many students, the concert was one of the most anticipated events of the semester. The Baltimore-based rapper is known for its high-energy live performances. And tonight was no different, as JPEG Mafia took the stage in front of a packed house. One fan after the show said she thought about joining the large crowd at the front, but ultimately opted out for safety reasons.
That was freaking awesome. So I was not in the pit, I was at the rail, but the entire time I was like, maybe I should go in there, but I think I would have died.
For many, events like this are a reminder of the importance of live music, and with support of organizations like KJHK and student union activities, we can expect to see more of them in the future. Sam Goldman, reporting for KUJH News.
Thanks, Sam. It definitely looked like a lot of fun.
All right, and a new internet drinking trend is taking over the KU party scene.
The Borg Challenge is growing throughout the U.S. and now at KU. KUJH's Bella Line joins us in the studio with more.
That's right. As the weather gets warmer, students are out soaking up the sun and enjoying a cold beverage while doing so. But students are finding creative ways to drink more efficiently.
So this is Borg Straight.
Borgs, or blackout rage gallons, are the newest internet drinking sensation for young adults. The trend was first featured on the social media platform TikTok and quickly spread throughout U.S. college campuses. For Zach Newby, a KU health educator, the Borg Challenge is on their radar and becoming more of a concern.
We're pushing out this education of what it means to count your drinks, really understanding how much alcohol is in different types of drinks, because it's paired so closely with that. Now, 4-5 drinks is not half a bottle of vodka, is not a whole bottle of vodka, which is what some folks are doing when they choose to use a Borg, right? So it's like, how can we use a Borg in a way that is really effective? If we're reducing the amount of alcohol that we're drinking, or it's the same amount of alcohol you would drink, then I would definitely argue that it's harm prevention.
According to Newby, the average KU student consumes less than 4 drinks every time they go out, which aligns with the national average according to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. But for Kate Gordon, a junior at KU, concerns about the Borg Challenge don't stop her from partaking in the trend.
Personally, I'm not that concerned because I split it up throughout the whole day, but I could see how other people should be concerned about the amount of alcohol that is in the Borg.
Even with concerns regarding excessive intake, Newby says it may be better than binge drinking if executed correctly.
It's a lot of really cool things, right? You are choosing what you're putting in your drink. You have a cap on your drink. You might be putting electrolytes, even though 1 packet of liquid IV does not give you a hungover. But you're doing a lot of really awesome things, right? You have the ability to drink your 1 drink all day. You can space it out all you want. But I think it's headed in a cool direction. Just need to make some tweaks to it to make it a little better.
According to Newby, the Health Education Resource Office has not experienced too many issues with the trend yet, but health educators are prepared and expect to see more concerns as the weather gets warmer. Back to you.
Thanks, Bella. To learn more about alcohol harm prevention, head to the office's website at hero.ku.edu.
All right, and the springtime is definitely here. We have been blessed with the sun, and we are going to take it over to Halen. Halen, should we be expecting more of this nice weather, or will we be seeing more of a cold fronts coming up?
Yeah, Marlon, you know, the weather's been great. It's been the past several weeks have been quite cool for March standards. We've been seeing a lot of gray days out there, so it is certainly a nice sight to see the sun out there. And temperatures finally warming up into the 60s, and we're expecting upper 60s for this afternoon and maybe the 70s for tomorrow. But it's all associated with this big system that's still making its way through the Rockies. We're seeing a lot of that southwesterly winds bringing a lot of that warm southern air, and plus a little bit some more moisture into the area as well. But starting to see some more clouds beginning to filter into the area. Still going to be experiencing more sunshine this afternoon, but more likely we're going to be seeing mostly cloudy conditions later tonight as we continue to track this system that's still hanging out in parts of Idaho right now. And that is going to be the biggest reason why we're seeing a lot of this strong wind, especially by tomorrow, and could see the potential for some storms as well. But for tonight, overall pretty quiet. Temperatures pretty mild. We are going to only be dropping into those upper 50s as our lows for tonight, maybe not even getting close to those possibly could be in the 60s as well. So very mild for this evening. So if you've got plans this evening, should be a relatively great night, although definitely be aware there might be a little chance for an isolated shower to pop up later tonight. More likely going to be closer to those early morning hours of Friday. But then once we get into Friday afternoon, we're really going to be seeing those winds cranking out. We're talking winds sustained between 25 to 35 miles per hour and gusts possibly up to 50 miles per hour. Very breezy day ahead for us, but temperatures, can't complain about them. We're going to be seeing eventually those mid 70s possibly, but we're also going to be keeping an eye out for the potential for some scattered showers. As I mentioned, we're seeing a lot of that warm air, a little bit of some humidity as well. So got a little bit of some ingredients for some instability and the possibility for some of those storms to pop up, but more likely they're going to stay a little bit further out to the east of us, especially in central Missouri where they have a greater chance for severe weather. But you can see this big low pressure system that is going to be swinging to the north, and that's why you see this really strong upper level jet stream that is just howling above us, and that's why we'll see a lot of just a few pop-up showers possibly over here, but then when you look a little bit further out to the east, you'll see a little bit more development of a squall line that'll continue to move out to Missouri, and that's going to be bringing the potential for some damaging winds and maybe even a little bit of a tornado situation as well. So even though we're on the edge of that severe storm mix, I'm not going to rule out the possibility of a few storms within our area for tomorrow afternoon, but the greatest chance for severe weather will be further out to the east, especially in areas near Iowa and also to areas to the south near Arkansas, at least that eastern part of Arkansas. Got 2 moderate risks, a level 4 out of 5 severe weather risks. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on that situation. A very large risk for severe weather for the Midwest, but luckily we're going to be trying to stay out of it. But again, can't rule out still seeing a possible thunderstorm or 2 initially starting on our side of the area. So only going to be seeing the impacts, possibly some hail and maybe some damaging winds, with the greatest threat further out to the east. And we're going to be quieting down once we get into the weekend. Temperatures going to take a little bit of a dip. We'll still see those upper 50s spot for Saturday, but then the good news is that we're going to be seeing another really large warm up once we get into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week, and seeing a very similar pattern to what we're going to be seeing for tomorrow, again for Tuesday. So already seeing the potential for another severe weather day going into next week, but there's still a lot of unknowns with that system, but we do know it's going to get nice and it's going to get really warm here again very soon. So still enjoying the 70s for tomorrow, 50s again once we get into Saturday, but then we're going to be still talking about those 70s again once we get into next week, and maybe pushing it close to 80 degrees on Tuesday ahead of that big system. So we're just going to keep a close eye on that system as we get closer to next week.
Thank you, Halen.
All right, and don't go anywhere because our sports team brings you all the top headlines that we have going on here on sports.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it. Thank you, Miss Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Get along down the road. We got a long, long way to go. Scared to live, scared to die. We ain't perfect, but we try. Get along while we can. Always give love the upper hand. Paint a wall, learn to dance. Call your mom, buy a boat, sing a song, make a friend. Can't we all get along?
Welcome back to KUJH. I'm Gus Spalo. As March comes to a close and the calendar turns to April, KU spring sports continue to move along in their conference schedules while winter sports finish up play this week. And to start things off, Kansas women's basketball advanced to the championship of the WNIT tournament last night after taking down Washington 61-36 at Allen Fieldhouse. 4 different Jayhawks finished in double figures, while senior Zakiya Frankel led the way with 14 points as the Jayhawks trailed for only a few minutes early to punch their ticket to the championship Saturday afternoon against Columbia. Now for Kansas men's basketball, freshman guard MJ Rice has elected to enter the transfer portal earlier this week, making him now the 5th player to enter the portal since the offseason. Kansas will now look for replacements in their upcoming recruiting class and in the transfer portal as they look to build next year's roster. Now, in terms of spring sports, Kansas softball took on Kansas City Tuesday night and defeated Kansas City 6-0. Senior Shayna Espy and junior Savannah DeRoche each had 2 RBIs, while DeRoche and junior Addison Purvis combined for a complete game shutout. The Jayhawks are now 18-12 through the first 30 games of the season, and they now begin Big 12 play this weekend when they travel to Waco, Texas to take on the Baylor Bears. First pitch is Friday at 6:30 p.m. As for Kansas baseball, it is opening day today in Major League Baseball, but in Kansas baseball, they are swept this weekend by TCU in Fort Worth. However, they then took on Creighton yesterday afternoon at home, and they took down the Blue Jays 3-1 after the Kansas pitching staff gave up just 6 hits and what was the 9th win for KU this season. Sophomore Chase Jans earned himself another multi-hit game, while junior Theniel Trumper pitched 4 2/3 innings of scoreless relief. The Jayhawks will square off against Baylor at home starting Friday. First pitch is set for 6 p.m. at Holcomb Ballpark. Kansas Track and Field recently scored off in the Shocker Spring Invitational over the weekend and had several strong performances throughout, including sophomore Lauren Heck's second-place finish in the heptathlon. Senior Samantha Van Hoke won the women's pole vault event, while freshman Adam Barkdell placed first in the men's pole vault event. The next meet for the Jayhawks takes place this weekend in Austin, Texas, as they compete in the Texas Relays, with most of the events starting today in Austin. Kansas women's golf took part in the Ping USA Invitational this weekend in Phoenix, and they placed 7th as a team overall and now prepares for the Big 12 Match Play Championships, in which they'll head back to Arizona starting on April 7th. And to round out spring sports, Kansas tends to continue their strong season with a 4-1 win at TCU this past Sunday afternoon. The Jayhawks are now 3-3 in Big 12 play now and are ranked inside the top 20 heading into April. Their next match takes place Tuesday, April 4th against Tulsa, with the first serve set for 4 p.m. in Lawrence. Now for Kansas women's basketball, again, they hosted that Fab Four game last night in Allen Fieldhouse, and KUJH's Anna Ambrose was there with more.
With over 7,000 fans in attendance and the biggest crowd the women's team has seen since 2010, Kansas had a home court advantage in the second-to-last round of the women's NIT. The Jayhawks started off on a slower pace, down by 4 points, but didn't let the Huskies take another lead the rest of the game. Junior guard Chandler Prater helped the Jayhawks defensively with 5 rebounds and held Washington to only 36 points. The one and only freshman on the team, forward Sophia Telegi, went 2 for 3 in the paint with some offensive help from senior guard Zakiah Franklin, who went 5 for 8 with 14 of the Jayhawks' 61 total points.
That was pretty cool. We've never had that before.
Yeah.
It's pretty evident that we've never had that before. So that's been a huge factor for our games, and we can't show enough appreciation. It really means a lot.
As the Jayhawks originally missed out on traveling for the NCAA tournament, they know how important it is to be home in front of all their fans for the upcoming championship game.
I love the fact that they booed a call when it was a 25-point game, so they were still into it and engaged. But that, to me, is a Kansas basketball fan.
Reporting for KUJH, I'm Anna Ambrose.
Kansas will take on Columbia in the championship round of the WNIT, which is set for Saturday at 4:30 p.m. at Allen Fieldhouse, and the game will be televised on CBS Sports Network. So that'll wrap it up for sports this week. We'll be right back after this break.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back. Last week we celebrated National Puppy Day, but pet lovers and owners can recognize another holiday this week.
And I'm not a cat owner, but on Tuesday, cat owners across the country could observe National Respect Your Cat Day.
And we've decided to celebrate too by collecting some pictures of our newsroom's own favorite felines. National Respect Your Cat Day is celebrated every year on March 28th. But it's not just an excuse to spend some quality time with your cat. It's an opportunity for owners to recognize everything these little kitties do for them and to find a way to give back. If you own a cat, why not visit a local store and buy them something nice? Whether you're a cat person or a dog person, every day is a chance to show your appreciation.
Those are some cute kitties.
Very cute.
That's so cute.
You know, one thing I do find very interesting is I love hearing, do you ever hear the cats cry at night?
Yes.
That sound amazes me. Do you guys have cats?
I do. Yeah, Axel was the first one that was shown on there. Axel, we've had him since 2012, I believe. And he's great. Axel's awesome.
I've got a cat too, but he didn't make it into the pictures. But his name's Blondie, and he's an older cat. He's been about here for 14 years, so he's an old one, but he's still got the heart of a kitten.
I love that. All right, that's all for now. Thank you for watching KUJH, and make sure to tune in next week for more on local news, sports, and weather.
And for more coverage, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and visit our website at tv.ku.edu.